give 110%. Every athlete has heard their coach utter those words. But what did it really mean? Where did that extra 10% come from when giving 100% meant you were giving everything you could? Was there like a discount outlet that held 10% sales and you went and you picked up all your effort there? Or was it maybe in a water bottle or the Gatorade that everyone was trying to advertise, telling you it was the best new thing? Those are questions I always had whenever I heard my coach talk about those. Never out loud, of course, because that would mean I'd be taking extra laps around the track or maybe a few push-ups, but I never really understood what the coach meant by that. Not at least until fall of 2015. We had a cross-country meet in Belmont. It was my junior year and it was my second year of cross-country. Belmont had a hilly and turny course. There was tons of hills and a couple bridges. It was not a great course for cross-country. On top of all of that, it was hot. I'm talking like 82 degrees and humid. We had 100 people. I was running pretty good that season. I was steadily improving, but I had hit a wall. My last few races had been about the same time. I hadn't really been improving in the track. I thought that I had hit my peak for a bit. Well, we lined up, about 100 of us, and already half of them were sweating. The gun goes, and we all take off. Now, I ran the first 2 miles like I would run a normal meet. I ran a little fast the first mile to try and keep up with everyone, and then I settled into my pace the second mile, just so I wouldn't fall over by the end of the second mile, maybe halfway through the third. Well, we were coming up to the second mile marker, and I was dead. I was drenched in sweat. My knees felt like some sort of jelly concrete. My breath was labored, and I felt that I was done. Somehow, there was this kid next to me that I'd stuck with the whole race. Now, that normally doesn't happen because everyone has their own little paces and everything. So some kids come out faster and then they slow down a lot. Some kids are pretty steady throughout the whole race. So you don't usually find someone who's just like you. Well, I guess this kid's coach told him that he had to run the world record third mile for a cross-country meet. Because when we were coming up to that second mile, he just took off sprinting. I figured, well, I somehow stuck with him this far, so let's see how long this goes. I took off after him, and we started passing the rest of the dead kids left and right. We managed to keep up going, and we got about a half a mile in, until he started to slow down. I guess I figured we only had about 800 meters left, and I could do this somehow. So I kept going just as fast as we did before, maybe even faster. I figured out where that extra 10% came from. That extra 10% was at the very end of the race. When you pass the finish line, someone hands you your little place card and telling you how bad you did, and then you get your little water and your popsicle. You might chat with a couple of the runners, talk about a really bad corner, part where you might have kicked a kid or maybe slipped. Well, that 10% you don't really need right there. That 10% is usually a lot better while the race is actually happening. So when coaches ask you to run 110%, they want you to run so hard that you can't actually do any of that stuff at the end. When you get to that finish line, you're done. You tip over, you just kind of crawl out of the way of everyone else. When you want to run 110%, that means you're running to the next 20 feet, so you can tip over. And then when you run to the next 20 feet, and then the next 20 feet, and the next 20 feet after that, until eventually you do find the finish line. No one ever feels like they can do that, so you got to trick yourself into getting that whole way. Well, that's what 110% is. That 10% is all mental.